All right, if you're a business or a marketer, you've spent years, maybe even decades, mastering the rules of SEO. Well, get ready, because those rules are being completely rewritten as we speak. The entire game of getting noticed online is shifting from a world of links to a world of answers, and it's all happening right now.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at why the old search world is kind of breaking down. Then we'll see how AI is pouring gasoline on that fire. After that, we'll introduce this new idea, AEO, Answer Engine Optimization. And finally, we'll get into the good stuff, the new playbook, and how you measure if you're actually winning.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. The biggest problem for, well, anyone trying to build a brand online is that it's just so crowded out there. And no, it's not your imagination. Getting your voice heard above all that noise is genuinely harder than it has ever been.
And here's where things get kind of weird. A SEMrush white paper points out this really strange paradox. Overall web traffic, it's booming. But the actual slice of that traffic going to each individual retailer is dropping. So more people are online, but there's just less attention to go around for any one of us. That's the real challenge. And this, right here, shows you why. Just look at a normal Google search page today. A wild 55% of that prime real estate is now eaten up by paid ads and Google's own stuff. You know, like the knowledge panels and shopping carousels. That leaves less than half the page for the old-school organic links we all fought so hard for. The space is literally vanishing before our eyes.
But listen, it's not all doom and gloom, far from it. Because despite all that noise, there's a massive opportunity hiding in plain sight. Check this out. 44% of consumers actually bought from a retailer that was totally new to them in the last year. So, yeah, people are more than willing to try something new. The trick is, you have to show up in the new places they're looking.
So, where are they looking? Well, that brings us to the big one, the real catalyst for this whole shift, artificial intelligence. And this isn't some sci-fi thing for the future. It's actively changing, right now, how every single one of us finds information.
I mean, just look at these numbers. According to SimilarWeb's data, ChatGPT alone pulls in 82% of all the traffic going to AI chat tools. This is not some tiny, niche trend. This is a full-blown, mainstream behavior shift. Millions upon millions of people are already going to these tools instead of Google for their day-to-day questions.
So how does that really change things? Well, think about the old way, right? You'd go to Google, you'd type in a few keywords, and you'd get that list of 10 blue links. Then you'd click one, read a bit, hit the back button, click another, and slowly piece together the answer yourself. What about now? People just go to an AI tool, ask a full question, like they're talking to a person, and bam, they get a single direct answer. The entire journey just got short-circuited. And a new behavior like this, well, it demands a completely new strategy. The goal is no longer just being a link in a long list. The new goal is to be the answer itself. And this, my friends, is the dawn of AEO, or Answer Engine Optimization.
To put it simply, Answer Engine Optimization is the craft of making your content so useful, so authoritative, and so well-structured that AI models literally pick your information to build their answers. You're not optimizing for a search engine anymore, you're optimizing for an answer engine. It's a huge mental shift.
And the experts are all saying the same thing. As Maria von Schiel-Plessen puts it, searches are prompts. Think about that. We're not just typing keywords anymore, we're giving instructions. And that means we have to completely revisit our search strategy from the ground up.
This chart does a fantastic job of laying out the new world. You've got your traditional SEO, which is all about ranking links. Then you've got AIO, which we're talking about, focused on getting into the direct answer. You'll even hear about GEO, which is all about becoming a trusted source for the AI model itself. They're all connected, but for today, our focus is squarely on AIO, the discipline of becoming the answer. Okay, so we get the shift. We know what AIO is, but how in the world do you actually do it? Let's roll up our sleeves and get into the new playbook, the practical steps you can actually take to win here.
The first, and honestly the most important new idea you need to wrap your head around is this: co-occurrence. This is a huge leap from old-school keyword stuffing. It's not about how many times you say a word on your own website. It's about how often the rest of the internet, forums, articles, blogs, reviews, mentions your brand in the same breath as a relevant topic or question. That connection is how an AI learns that you're an authority.
So how do you actually optimize for this stuff? It's really a two-step process. First, you've got to identify the core questions your customers are asking and the problems you solve for them. And you need to think in topics, not just keywords. Second, you have to get your brand, your expertise, and your content mentioned in all the places where those conversations are already happening. Places like Reddit, Quora, and industry blogs. Be part of the discussion, wherever it is.
Now here's a really crucial strategic nugget. The type of content in AI trusts depends on the question. For those big, popular questions like, what's the best tool for X? AI tends to trust what other people say about you, what we call earned media, like reviews or news articles. But for those super specific, long-tail questions, it's much more likely to cite your own website, your owned media. And the key takeaway here is simple. You can't just focus on your own blog. You need a strategy for both.
So what's the new golden rule for creating content? It's this beautiful, simple idea right here. Good content is content that is so complete, so comprehensive, that it answers every single possible follow-up question a user might have. Your goal is to be the single most helpful resource on that topic, period.
All right, so if the game has changed and the playbook has changed, then it just makes sense that the way we keep score has to change too. The old metrics, they just aren't going to tell you if you're actually winning anymore.
Let's just compare them. We're moving away from obsessing over keyword ranking. Are we position 3 or 4 for this one keyword? The new, much smarter metric is share of answer. This measures something way bigger. Across all the different AI platforms and for all the different ways a user could ask a question about your topic, what percentage of the time does your brand show up in the answer? See? It's a much more real-world measure of your actual visibility.
And this quote from IKEA's digital optimization manager, Arnaldo Cabrera, just brings it all home perfectly. At the end of the day, all these new technologies and strategies, they all point back to one timeless, simple truth. Focus on the user. The tech will always change, but if you stay obsessed with helping your customers and answering their questions, the results will absolutely follow. So, I'll leave you with this one critical question to think about for your own brand. In this new age of answers, where people expect direct solutions, not just long lists of links, is your brand still just a link, or is it ready to become the answer? That's something we all need to figure out, and fast. Thanks for joining me for this explain.